Take a deep breath in, hold it, and let it out. That fresh air you just tasted, it shouldn't exist. Seriously, look at this image. The Sahara Desert, the deadliest, driest oven on Earth. To you, it looks like a useless ocean of burning sand, right? A place where nothing grows, nothing lives, and nothing survives. But what if I told you that this dead wasteland is the only reason you are alive right now? Welcome to the biggest glitch in nature. Scientists have discovered that the Sahara is secretly feeding the Amazon rainforest from 3,000 miles away. It sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it is a biological fact. Every single year, millions of tons of dust fly from the heart of Africa, cross the entire Atlantic Ocean, and land on the trees of South America. But here's the twist that will blow your mind. The Amazon isn't eating sand, it is eating ghosts. The dust that keeps the jungle alive is actually made of the crushed bones of ancient creatures that died thousands of years ago. Stick around, because today we are going to uncover the invisible bridge that connects the hottest desert to the thickest jungle. And along the way, we will discover how a lost civilization, a dead lake, and a global wind cannon are controlling the air you breathe right now. This is the story of the impossible connection. Let's start with the victim of this story, the Amazon rainforest. We see it in documentaries, lush, green, powerful. We call it the lungs of the earth. But scientifically, the Amazon is a biological disaster waiting to happen. Most people assume that because the jungle is so thick, the soil beneath it must be incredibly rich and fertile. But the truth is the exact opposite. The soil in the Amazon is garbage. It is shockingly poor.
Why? Because of the rain. The Amazon gets pounded by massive rainstorms almost every day. Imagine trying to grow a garden, but someone is pointing a fire hose at it 24/7. The water washes away all the organic nutrients before the soil can absorb them. This process is called leaching. So technically, the trees in the Amazon are starving. They are desperate for nutrients. Specifically, they need one thing: phosphorus. Think of phosphorus as the fuel for life. It is found in your DNA, your bones, and in every plant cell. Without it, plants can't convert sunlight into energy. They turn yellow, they stop growing, and they die. The Amazon loses thousands of tons of phosphorus every year due to flooding. By all laws of nature, this jungle should be dead. So how does this massive biological machine survive on empty soil? It waits for a delivery that comes from the most unlikely place on Earth.
Let's fly 3,000 miles east to the scorched sands of northern Africa. Zoom in on the map. Right here in the country of Chad, see this strange white scar on the planet's face? This is the Bodélé Depression. It looks like just another patch of sand, but this is the most important spot on Earth for life in South America. This basin sits about 155 meters below sea level, and it is the dustiest place on the planet. But if you were standing there and you picked up a handful of this sand, you would notice something weird. It doesn't feel like rock. It feels like powder. And if you put it under a powerful microscope, you wouldn't see jagged stones. You would see bones.
Billions upon billions of microscopic skeletons called diatoms. These are the fossilized shells of ancient algae and tiny aquatic creatures. You see, this wasn't always a desert. This spot is a graveyard. These skeletons are made of silica and, you guessed it, pure, concentrated phosphorus. This white powder is basically the highest quality fertilizer ever created by nature, and there are millions of tons of it just sitting there, waiting. But a pile of fertilizer in Africa is useless to a tree in Brazil unless you can ship it there. And this is where the Earth reveals its genius engineering. The geography of this region is designed like a machine. The Bodélé Depression is surrounded by two massive mountain ranges, the Tibesti and the Eneti Mountains. These mountains form a natural V-shaped funnel. When the wind blows, it gets squeezed between these mountains, accelerating like a jet stream. It acts like a giant wind cannon. This cannon blasts the floor of the depression, stripping off layers of these ancient bones and shooting them into the sky at speeds of up to 50 miles per hour. But to really understand the tragedy behind this miracle, we have to travel back in time. Close your eyes and delete the yellow sand from your mind. Rewind the clock 6,000 to 10,000 years. Welcome to the green Sahara. I'm not joking. This wasn't a desert. It was a paradise. Geologists and archaeologists have found undeniable proof. Ancient cave paintings hidden in the rocks of the Sahara show people swimming. They show hunters chasing giraffes, hippos, and antelopes. They show lush grasslands and flowing rivers. And right where that white, dusty scar is today, there was a monster lake. We call it Lake Mega Chad. This lake was colossal. It was bigger than all the Great Lakes of North America combined. It stretched over 130,000 square miles. For thousands of years, this lake was teeming with life. Giant fish, crocodiles, algae, and microorganisms lived, bred, and died here. Layer after layer of their bodies sank to the bottom, creating a thick sediment of nutrient-rich sludge. But then the Earth moved. A slight wobble in our planet's orbit changed the angle of the sun. The tropical rains shifted south. The water stopped coming. And the change was terrifyingly fast. Within just a few centuries, the paradise turned into an oven. The water evaporated, the fish died, the people fled. Lake Mega Chad shrank down to a tiny puddle, leaving behind its floor exposed to the sun and the wind. The paradise died so that the Amazon could live.
Now let's follow this ghost dust on its insane journey. Every year, that wind cannon in Chad shoots about 180 million tons of dust into the atmosphere. NASA satellites like Calypso track these plumes. From space, they look like massive brown rivers flowing over the clouds. But here is a detail most people miss. The Amazon isn't the only one getting fed. As this dust travels over the Atlantic Ocean, some of it falls into the water. And this is crucial. The iron and phosphorus in the dust feed the phytoplankton in the ocean. These tiny marine plants are responsible for producing nearly 50% of the oxygen we breathe. So the Sahara isn't just feeding the jungle, it is fertilizing the ocean too. But the main cargo continues west. It travels 3,000 miles. It survives storms, hurricanes, and high-altitude winds. And finally, gravity and rain pull it down over South America. Roughly 27 million tons of this specific dust lands on the Amazon basin every single year. Now, do the math. Scientists calculated how much phosphorus the Amazon loses to rain every year, and then they calculated how much phosphorus the Sahara delivers. The numbers match almost perfectly. It is an even exchange. The desert replaces exactly what the jungle loses. It's almost like the Earth is balancing its own checkbook. And there is one more crazy side effect. During years when the Sahara dust is really thick, it actually blocks sunlight over the Atlantic Ocean. This cools down the water slightly. And guess what cooler water does? It stops super hurricanes from forming. So this dust might even be protecting the U.S. coast from extreme weather.
So let's look at the big picture. We usually see the world as separate maps. Africa is here, South America is there.
The ocean is in between. But nature doesn't see borders. The Earth is one single breathing organism. One organ cannot survive without the other. But here is the scary reality check to end on. This entire system is hanging by a thread. Climate change is currently messing with global wind patterns. If the winds shift, or if the Bodélé Depression runs out of dust, the supply chain breaks. If the dust stops flying, the Amazon starts starving. If the Amazon dies, carbon dioxide levels spike and global oxygen drops. We are all connected to a dead lake in the middle of nowhere. Your breath right now depends on the ghosts of the Sahara. And that is the impossible connection. This is Lost Myths.
You've just seen how life survives in the burning sands. But could you survive the deadliest winter on Earth? Witness life in the coldest city on the planet, where eyelashes freeze instantly and people eat frozen raw fish to stay warm. Click right here to see how people celebrate Christmas at -96 degrees. Trust me, you don't want to miss this.